You want to build muscle. You want maximum strength. What are the best sources of whole food proteins? Are they equal or are some better than others? Well, I'm here to tell you there are some that are better than others. There are some that are superior for building muscle. I will start with the first one. Best muscle building whole food source of protein, beef.
Where's the beef?
Beef is number one. Okay,
did you
red meat.
prioritize these, or are they just?
I did.
Okay, they are.
So let's back up for a second, okay? Here's the criteria for what makes a whole food protein source really good for bodybuilding purposes. Protein quality, obviously, right? Does it have a good amino acid profile? Is it good for stimulating muscle protein synthesis? Does it have good bioavailability? Animal sources, for example, are superior when it comes to protein quality on a gram for gram basis in comparison to plant sources, by the way. The data, very clear on this. This is just an opinion. Very, very clear. So it's no mistake that all the sources that we're going to list here are animal sources because we're talking about the top 5, right? So protein quality, nutrient density. Does it come along and paired with other beneficial nutrients for health and for muscle building? And then lastly, digestibility. This one's a big one because some protein sources are amazing, but they also tend to be the ones that have a high rate of issues with digestion. And this is a problem because if you're trying to build muscle and you eat a lot of this protein, but it causes gastric distress, like it's not working for you. It's not going to help you out. Beef is number one on the list because the protein is excellent quality. It's not the best, it's not superior, but it's pretty darn close.
Pretty bioavailable.
Yes, it's very high in zinc and B vitamins. So are many of the sources we talk about, but it's one of the highest for zinc and for B vitamins. It's also extremely easily digestible. In fact, it's one of the foods that has the lowest rate of food intolerances is beef. This is why you have the carnivore diet, which is not a diet I recommend. But the reason why people with all these immune reactions to food, to many different foods, will go to carnivore and just eat beef is because it's so nutrient dense and because beef tends to not be very reactive.
Is it even, okay, so I'm glad you said that because that was one of the things that I would consider when I'm making this list. And because of that, I would have not put beef here. I would have put chicken above that because I feel like I've never had a client who had any sort of reaction to chicken, although I've had clients that have complained about red meat before. Yeah. And I know that beef has higher amounts of creatine in there, so I know that it has other beneficial.
The highest amount.
Yeah, so I know that it's beneficial. But I've had, I don't know if you guys have trained a lot of clients like this, but I've trained a handful of clients that red meat doesn't agree with them.
It's actually, if you look at immune reactions, and if you wanted something that was all the things in the categories, beef would rank higher. Although chicken is great, chicken's up there, but it's not as high. It's high in B vitamins. Not as high as beef. It's got zinc, not as much as beef. It's got more creatine than chicken does. Beef has the highest amount of creatine, and they're both easily digestible. By the way, all the sources that we're going to talk about on this top 5 list are great. They're all super good. So this was kind of a tough list.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I would, because I wouldn't just rate the best thing for you. I would want to consider what I think has been the most universally accepted or easily digestible, and so I would have put chicken above beef just for that reason. I've never met a client I haven't been able to put on chicken for that reason. And then maybe even fish. I'd say chicken, fish, and then beef. I feel like I've had more people with red meat issues than I ever had with those two things.
The other part, though, that I'll tell you, let me ask you this, anecdotally speaking, Adam. When you competed in physique, so you were in the bodybuilding space for a little bit, but I've always been a fan of muscle building and bodybuilding. Of fish, chicken, and beef, which one has always been regarded as the best for strength and muscle gain?
Beef.
By far. By far.
Yeah. I mean, I think if it's easily digestible for you and you can intake a lot of it, it's a no-brainer. That's number one. But I think when I'm putting a list together of, because another one that you have on there, and I don't mean to jump ahead of on your stuff.
Was it an allergy or was it a preference thing? Because I kind of had more preference, like they didn't like red meat.
No,
it's interesting, Doug. Maybe you can Google this and look up Let's look at food allergy.
Like they had a hard time digesting it, which was I got that complaint sometimes.
But I didn't get that with chicken and fish. I didn't get that. If you could eat if you could eat meat in general, chicken and fish were at the top of like digestibility. Now it's not at the top of nutrient density, but I never had a client who was open to eating meat that I put on a diet that had any problem eating as much fish and chicken I threw their way.
You know,
I did have to limit red meat sometimes. Some people would just tell me like, you know, 1 serving a day, Adam, not a problem. 2, 3 servings, I don't forget. Now I know we have examples of like the carnivore diet where people, that's all they eat and they're totally fine, but that's also a small minority of people that are following a diet like that. And when I think of general population, helping them with that, and that's the only reason why I'm looking at your list and I see what the next one is. And I know that some people have an intolerance to that also. And so I would jump chicken and fish as 1 and 2 to me, not because I think it's better, but because people tend to have.
I would say, and we'll have Doug look this up. If you look at the instances of food allergies with beef, chicken, and fish, they're probably so close it doesn't make a difference. Is what I would guess.
Oh, you think they're that close?
I would guess it's so close.
So that's interesting. I would love to see that because in my experience, that's not true.
Yeah.
And
I'm wondering because I hear you because I know there was client, but I'm wondering if how much of that was actually that the saturated fat from beef.
Or if they weren't eating grass fed.
Exactly.
So now that's probably, and this is what I would go through my head as a trainer.
Because I know for me, I feel way different.
I remember clients telling me, and I'm going like, I don't think it's the red meat. I think it's the other stuff
and
coming
they're
with
kind
it.
of associating it too. I had a lot of clients that were getting a lot of information that red meat was really bad for you.
So that could affect it.
So the association to that, like it seemed to me, and I had to kind of walk them through that, but I have had a few clients that did not digest beef.
I'm wondering if it was like burgers, that they're attributing.
Oh yeah,
to.
exactly too. What kind of food were they eating?
Yeah. So Doug, are you finding anything?
Yeah. So the beef allergies are typically associated with tick. Reactions to tick bite.
Right. But in general, if you were to look at fish, chicken, and beef,
fish allergies are one of the most common food allergies in the United States.
That's true. I knew that. Yeah, that's true.
So about 1% of the population has a fish allergy.
Right.
Beef, I don't have an exact number, but as far as the ones associated with the ticks, it was like 450,000 people in the United States.
Yeah, that's for the specific infection. Yeah. So beef being cows are ruminant animal. Humans have been consuming
for a long time,
forever.
Yeah.
Longer than they've been consuming.
I mean, I agree with your point.
More than they've consumed.
You're making, because I think if you were to ask me, because going back and trying to recall those conversations with those clients, how many times did I, I agreed with them, like, yeah, I'll put you on more chicken, but in the back of my mind, I'm going like, I don't think you have a problem with meat. I think it's you've made an association with it, or you're making choices like hamburgers, and they're saying that the hamburger, it's like, well, it's probably the bun, the cheese, the other stuff.
Right.
That
dairy,
it was the other stuff that probably affect you.
No, generally speaking, it's beef would be an ancestral food. Now they'll put chicken in there, but humans have been eating, those kinds of animals like beef, bison beef, related animals for a long time. And we consume more of that than we did of birds, for sure. Mm-hmm. So I think if you were to look across the population, I think digestibility, now besides fish, I know that there are reactions to fish. There are people who are allergic to fish, especially shellfish, but other fish as well. But I think if you put chicken and beef, I think they're so close it doesn't make a difference. But when you compare nutrients, you compare protein quality, although both have good quality, I would say beef outperforms chicken.
Out chicken barely.
You add creatine in there and zinc. Zinc is, especially for men, if it's low, you're not going to be as anabolic as you could be. Right. It's higher in some minerals and B vitamins as well on a ounce per ounce basis. And again, I'm also going with bodybuilders. Bodybuilders of all, even current bodybuilders will tell you, oh, I eat a lot of beef in the off season, especially when trying to pack on muscle and mass. In my experience, working with clients, when I got them to switch to beef from chicken, even though we would somewhat look at the macros and keep them somewhat the same, and I think it has to do with the creatine, people would notice benefits. They feel stronger from the beef.
Yeah, it's probably creatine.
That's right. Hey, sorry to interrupt. Look, we have a free guide. It's the benefits of eating whole foods. This gives you a shopping list, what foods are best for proteins, fats, carbohydrates. There's recipe samples. It's all based on real, whole, natural foods, and it's a free guide. It's totally free. You can get it if you go to wholefoodsguide.com or by clicking on the link in the description below. Next up, eggs. Now, eggs, eggs are so nutrient dense, it's ridiculous.
The multivitamin protein, right?
They're super high on a gram per gram basis in B vitamins, choline, which is extremely beneficial for the brain, folic acid. their amino acid profile, you could argue that eggs have the perfect amino acid profile. Now, some people would say whey, but other people would argue eggs. Whole eggs stimulate muscle protein synthesis like almost nothing else. I think it has to do with the cholesterol that's in the egg as well. They are, if I had to label one food as a bodybuilding food, it would be an egg. Now, the reason why they're not as high as beef is because digestibility issues. I think a lot of people have issues.
Yeah, but I would also make the case
eggs.
that because that was the close second that I was going to. When you said in the bodybuilding world, what holds the highest regard? I said beef, eggs would be right up there.
Totally.
Too. I don't know a bodybuilder one that didn't start his day with a dozen eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were doing a dozen whole eggs, you were doing the egg white pumps.
Like half the market.
100%. Like I'm not sure if that's. It'd be interesting to see the history on where the egg white phenomenon came from.
That came from the whole fat scare.
Right, but
bodybuilders were not afraid of whole eggs back in the day.
Okay,
it came in the 80s when everybody was, we got to watch out for fat. Like, you could just take the fat out by getting rid of the.
Yeah, because for as long as I've known, the eggs have been, every bodybuilder was using eggs.
Oh, yeah.
And lots of eggs.
Oh, bodybuilders in the 20s, 30s, 40s, like this was the superfood, anabolic, like you go hard, 12 of them, 15 of them. I know for myself, and I've done this with clients, if I take somebody and have them dramatically increase their egg intake, even control everything else, and they're instead of eating 2 eggs a day, they're eating 8 or 10, and we control calories and everything else, there's this anabolic effect. And there's studies that show equal amount of protein if they just eat egg whites versus whole eggs. Whole eggs have a much higher muscle protein synthesis signal. And they're like, we don't know why this is happening. I think it's the cholesterol.
Yeah.
I know dietary cholesterol in other data seems to have this kind of muscle building effect. Eggs are incredible source of protein. It is a superfood. If you were to label any of the things that we're talking about on this list as superfood, eggs are the only reason why they didn't beat beef though, is because it's got they're relatively high, especially in comparison to beef, issues with digestibility. A lot of people have issues digesting it. A lot of people don't, but a lot of people also do, especially egg whites.
Yeah.
Next up, fish. Here's where we put fish. Now I ranked fish higher than chicken because of the omega-3 fatty acids. It's one of the, if I say omega-3 fatty acids,
where else are you going to go?
The first food you think of
fish.
is fish.
Yeah. Fish oil, fish.
That's right. And omega-3 fatty acids, they have great health benefits and muscle building effects. They now show, there's studies now that show that increasing omega-3 fatty acid intake in diets actually helps with muscle growth. So I love fish. I think it should be, I definitely think it should be above chicken in my opinion. It's one of the better ones for sure.
Yeah.
And then chicken. Now we got chicken. Now chicken's great. What does chicken really have going for it? It's easy, it's inexpensive, and it's easy to prepare, cook, freeze, make. It's just one of those versatile foods. Also high in B vitamins and great amino acid profile. All animal sources.
Well, go back to fish. Like if you're gonna rank, if you're gonna put a specific fish out there that you would say that you'd try and seek more so, because I know tilapia is big in the bodybuilder.
No.
That's a terrible one.
Yeah, right.
Terrible
Like
Salmon would be number.
wild
Salmon,
halibut or something.
Wild salmon would be number one if we're going to go the nutrient dense world.
Yeah.
If you're gonna position it the same way you position the beef,
Yes.
then salmon would win because salmon is the wild salmon would be the most nutrient dense.
Well, I have one that'll beat salmon, in my opinion, sardines. Sardines are even higher in those nutrients, and they're one of the cleanest fish that you could get because they are not they're not up higher on the food chain.
Even on the omega-3s?
Very high in omega-3s.
Higher than salmon?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, on an ounce per ounce basis. Maybe compare them, Doug, to show, but they're
I know sardines are up there too.
and they're also
But
high.
you got to be a special person to eat fucking cold sardines.
They're not-
Still has his eyeballs.
I still can't do it, dude. I still can't do it. I'm hella open to eating stuff
And
too.
you guys aren't thinking anchovies, right? You're thinking sardines.
No,
Yeah,
sardines
no,
are
they're
little
big,
mini fish.
They're like
Or you're
fat
eating an
ones,
eyeball. You're eating like a little fish.
It is. A little skeleton in there.
No, they're good. What does it say there, Doug?
Yeah, so sardines contain higher amounts of EPA, and salmon has lower overall omega-3 content compared to sardines.
One of the most dense
Okay.
forms.
Wow. So then sardines and then salmon would
Yeah,
be
and then
the
chicken's just chicken.
That's
Yeah.
I would make a case on the chicken argument with chicken thighs.
Yeah. Dark
Because it's a
meat.
good source of fat.
It's not bad.
No, it's a good source of fat from chicken, and
tastes
also
way better than
taste.
chicken.
Yeah, I mean, I remember as 20-something years old eating chicken breasts with everything, and boy, that gets old fast.
It's like eating sand.
And try prepping your meal and reheating chicken breasts. Reheated chicken breasts.
How much salsa did you have to add to wash that
It
down?
was just dry. And I remember forcing that. And then I remember, I'll never forget, like, having, I don't even remember why this was, but I remember I had boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And I was this is weighing in early days of weighing and tracking. And I realized how close it was to the chicken
6
breast.
ounces is 6 ounces. Like, what is it? Like
yeah,
30 calories?
It was not a big difference. And the little bit of a difference was a little bit higher in the fat content. And that little bit of higher fat content meant the chicken tastes so much better. Was also so much better reheated the second or the third day, because all that fat kind of solidifies around it. When you re-microwave it, heats it back up, and it's like, I don't know, it makes the meat still juicy. Where chicken breast it's dry from the jump, and then it's dry again when you reheat it.
It gets even drier. When
and it's like all in the pursuit of saving 30 calories. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'll never do that again.
I can't tell you how much mustard and ketchup and salsa I ate to wash down chicken breast, because it's so dry. You have to add something to make it.
It was such a, it was for a young guy who was trying to eat more protein and struggling to do that. Chicken breast is one of the dumbest strategies.
Yeah.
It really is. It's hard to eat a lot.
Yep. If you're really counting every calorie, then I could see it. Otherwise,
but I mean, it's rarely that, though. It's normally the guy who's chasing after more protein, more calories, more is what it is, and then he's still eating the chicken breast, and it's like, dude, switch to chicken thighs. The difference in the 30 calories is not going to put on a bunch of body fat in you. It's good fat, and you're going to be able to eat more of it. So yeah, I'd put that up there.
Lastly, and the only reason why this is last, because it would be definitely top 3. Is the digestibility issues. It's one of the top foods that people have issues digesting.
Intolerances.
But it has one of the best protein amino acid profiles, and that's milk. Yeah. Milk is amazing amino acid profile. It's made up of whey and casein. Both have their benefits. Whey, everybody knows how great whey is. Casein also has some great amino acid profile benefits. It's high in calcium. You're going to get more calcium in milk than you will in some of the other sources. It's relatively high in other nutrients. And it's the most versatile of all these things. How many milk type foods can you eat? Like cottage cheese and yogurts, and just drink it,
All the variety of cheeses.
It's great. If you have no problem digesting milk, I'm very jealous, because this is one of the most inexpensive, best sources of high quality protein you can find anywhere. I think it's super understated. And all your protein shakes are processed versions of milk. Most of the popular ones. Yeah. So if you have no issues digesting, now
just add that to your meals, right?
Dude,
you're eating the rest of your protein on the list, but you're drinking milk with it.
You want a post-workout meal? Have some cottage cheese or drink a couple glasses of milk, and you're totally set. So it's one of my favorites. Again, the reason why it's 5 though is it's at the top. It's one of the top foods that people have issues with, either lactose intolerance or just plain dairy intolerance.
Now, in a perfect world, and I love this is a fun, cool conversation for me, because I always took a lot of pride in rotating all of these foods in my diet. Like you went through and you kind of talked about each of these, why they're top 5, and some of them have different properties that makes them top 5 and why they're so amazing. And I think in a perfect world, you're rotating through all these. And I would have like I added veal, bison, ground turkey in that mix also, and I would just rotate through all the meats. Never let a week go by where I didn't have one of those, including those other ones in there, and that you rotate through those. And really with carbs, it's so basic. It's like sweet potato, yams, quinoa, rice, like those 4. That's so simple, and when you compare it to what the nutrients and the things that you get in meat, it pales in comparison. So the fact that I don't really rotate much of that doesn't matter that much. I mean, I'm sticking to those 4. It's easy to cook. I can cook them in bulk. They all go with all those things you're mean. But I think the real good stuff is in the rotation.
Well, it's the main part of the show.
Yes.
Of your plate is your protein source.
Yes.
For sure.
And rotate through those. If you're okay eating all of them, eat them all.
Now, the only reason why I didn't, lamb, by the way, special mention, the only reason why I didn't put it up there is just not popular here in the States. But lamb,
other cultures,
lamb is extremely nutrient dense. It's a great source of creatine. It's high in zinc, high in B vitamins, very easily digestible. It's a great source of protein. Just a lot of people.
Yeah, pork's another one. Yeah, you wouldn't eat a lot of.
Yeah, and I didn't put pork up there because I was competing with chicken, fish.
Right.
and beef, but pork's okay. It's not
It's
bad.
the other white meat.
Yeah,
Consider it.
That's what they said.
I love that marketing pitch.
I'm not a huge fan of pork except for like breakfast meats, but don't typically.
Oh
eat
man,
a
we
lot
used to make the
Bacon,
Costco's
sausage.
pork tenderloin that comes like that.
Tenderloins are great.
Yeah, real good, and it's leaner than you would think. I remember originally thinking that pork was so fatty, but you can get leaner cuts of it, and it tastes pretty good. So it's normally in the rotation for me also.
So I want to ask you guys something that see if we could paint a couple pictures, because I was on social media, and what popped up on my feed was, I don't remember what it was, but it was like this dude that set this new world record in bench press. And for anybody who cares, it was equipped or whatever, bench shirt, the whole thing. But anyway, this guy he was leaning over the bench, and he was equipped, and he had to wear a bench shirt and all that stuff. And it was a ridiculous weight, it was like 1,000-something pounds, which if you can argue all you want about equip, but good luck trying to lift anything like that.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, like without it, I'm sure he's benching.
I mean,
700
even
pounds.
getting into his outfit would have been insane too.
But he's leaning over the bar, and for someone like myself who understands biomechanics and body types, when you get to a certain level of performance, what ends up happening is the body, the polymorphisms that work well for a particular lift start to appear at the top, right? Like, of course, if I'm at just strong, you got a lot of people who are just strong. But if I go to like the top 1% of bench pressers, they have a body type.
Oh, it's like comparing Michael Phelps to your average high school kid who swims.
Genetics
You
really
go to a
come
high school
through.
swim pool, and like everyone kind of looks like your typical high schooler, and then you look at Michael Phelps, and it's like
he's got a long torso,
the
little tiny
levers.
legs,
like oddly shaped, but for that sport, amazing.
Well, it's weird about that too. I was just listening to this. While I was reading the book, The Sports Gene, they're talking about the whole like LA Dodgers and how they tested them in terms of their visual acuity. And they were the top, top ranked out there in baseball, because like they're talking about the whole, how they could see the spin of the ball in this microsecond, and so anyway, that all played a huge factor in it. And you don't really like think about those things. You just think about the normal skills of like, well, they can really throw the ball hard. They can catch it. They can, do all the normal skills, but it like boils down a lot at that top tier to like how well they can recognize images.
I remember I read an article one time on Barry Bonds, and that was actually the main. Like, of course, everybody is, his name's been bastardized because of steroid use and all the things like that. But he's been walked more than anybody in the world too, which is a testament to his ability to see the ball.
Yep.
And it's like the skill that it takes to see that ball come out, because it's like milliseconds, and to be able to catch the rotation, to then process in your brain of what kind of pitch is coming, to know where it's going to go, to know whether you should swing or not swing, is crazy.
Yeah.
And he had
all the body cues that lead up. to that.
He had one of the most brilliant abilities to be able to process that at a high speed, which is why he was such a great home run hitter, why he got so many walks in his career and stuff. So
with this guy who's this champion bench presser, obviously, what do you think you look like, right?
Short arms,
super short
big
arms,
ass chest and torso,
super
T-Rex,
wide, super wide body. Like, imagine a short refrigerator. You know what I mean? That's kind of what he looked like. It was really wide
really
body.
small legs. Like, who cares about the legs?
He was like this with no neck, but just all body and these little tiny arms. That were really short, because biomechanically, the advantage for him is huge.
Yeah.
So I was going to go through the major lifts, kind of talk about what body types have advantages in those lifts. So bench presser, that's you. Short arms, wide barrel chest, kind of a stocky body. You're going to have more of an advantage with bench press. Squats, short femur.
Short guys, period.
Yeah.
Short.
They look like they just sit in the squat, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't even have to lean forward and do it.
Yeah.
And then deadlifter. This is why I like deadlift so much. It's the opposite of all that. It's like a long, lanky dude.
Long, lanky.
Long arms.
It really helps.
Yeah, especially if you have longer arms. And the basketball players tend to be decent at
longer arms and legs. Yeah,
they have real long arms. If you have a lot longer arms than anything else, then that's a huge advantage.
There was this one deadlifter. I wish I knew his name. Black dude, skinny guy who could pull ridiculous. I mean, he was like probably 160 pounds, and he was pulling like 700-pound deadlifts, sumo.
Wow.
But when you look at him and he's standing up, getting his award, he had his arm length looks so weird, bro. Like, he's standing there. He wasn't a tall guy, but his arms were so long that he got his sumo. Was really
like hang down by his knees.
Yeah. But he was pulling crazy amounts of weight.
I always wondered, like, I was taught
Leverage,
conventional deadlifting, and so I've gotten really good at conventional versus sumo. But when you think about biomechanically, like if I got really good at sumo, it would be such an advantage because I have such long arms, and then I'm already
wide
spreading.
base,
Wide
so you're
base.
already almost there.
So I'm like, it's yeah. I mean, I love our friend Lane, but I mean, I kind of look when I look at him doing sumo, I'm like, it's like he's got like a huge wide stance.
Cheating, Lane.
Yeah, it's like a 6-inch deadlift, dog.
You know what he always says when people make fun of him? He's like, "You do it."
You got me there.
I can't deadlift it. I can't deadlift it. So, but I mean, when I think about it, I'm like, that would have been the move. Would have been getting, you know, if I was trying to compete and just say how much I lift, it'd be.
So I was going down the rabbit hole of all these strength sports, and obviously strongman, you just be a giant, right? There's no weight class.
Yeah.
So if you're just a giant, then you have a huge advantage. Then I was looking at arm wrestlers, and these guys, the size of their wrists and hands are always so big, bro.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, these champion arm wrestlers, their hands are so ridiculously
They're all hands
big.
and forearms.
But just forget even the muscle. Forget the muscle. Just the bone
like
of their
bone
wrist
is
and their
huge,
hands.
yeah.
There's one guy, I don't remember his name.
Oh my God, his hands are like
You know
mitts.
what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
He looks like
He just like engulfs the person that he's like competing against with this
I think
huge
his name
mitt.
started with a C or something like that, and his fingers were like two of my fingers put together.
Yeah.
So he grabs your hand. It's kind of like it's not really fair. You know what I mean?
No.
He just kind of crushes
He
you
looks like a mutant.
with his big old fingers or whatever. Anyway, I thought it was cool going down that with all those different strength sports.
Well, you remember when we shared that? There was a really good one of my favorite TED Talks, and we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah,
A long
the
time ago.
democratization of sports.
Yeah,
That's
that might have been the name. Maybe Doug can look it up to see if that's what it was. That's
the guy. That's the guy with the long arms and the deadlift. Look how long his arms are.
Yeah, look at that.
They are down to
Lamar
his
Gant.
knees.
Lamar Gant.
They are down to his knees.
Almost down to his knees, yes.
Yeah. How much is he pulling right there, Doug? What was his record, and how much did he weigh? He didn't even pull sumo. I thought he pulled sumo. He didn't.
Oh wow, yeah,
But he's got. How did you find him, Doug?
I just
Exceptional long arm deadlifter.
yes, exactly.
he's been working on his Google skills. Too.
Yeah, I've been working on it. I get so much flack for it.
What was his lift there?
Yeah, he set 71 world records. I'm trying to find his actual list.
He's in a 123 pound
71?
class.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
He weighed 123 pounds. He lifted 623 pounds.
Oh, then he pulled 688 pounds at 132 pound weight class.
He's only 100.
Now, look, here's the deal. I don't care what your biomechanical advantages are that helped.
That's
He's still strong as hell.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Come
much
on.
weight.
Well, I think
For
the point
how
that
much
you're
he weighs?
making, I don't think you're taking anything away from just
Yes.
what
It's like
you're-
everything working
exactly
together.
what you're. I mean, this is again why I love sports. I mean, professional sports is the greatest expression and example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was different 80 years ago. 80 years ago, you had full-time contractors, picking up. There was no money in the sport. It didn't draw the attention of everybody. Now there's so much money in sports that it attracts the right.
Well, it's great too. It's like you're born different. You're like a mutant. You have some kind of appendage that's like oversized. But guess what? You're like an amazing athlete just for this one thing. It's like
so true.
It's
like,
so rad.
Almost every kid that had something that he probably got teased or thought was a deformity when you were could be leveraged as an advantage in some sport.
Something.
In something.
We can create a sport.
There is a
for it,
sport
yeah.
out there for you. That
There's one. I'll give you guys a crazy example. You probably know his name, but he was a kicker. Was it the Steelers?
Oh yeah, with the nub foot.
He had a club foot.
Yeah, club foot.
What was his name? And he was like he was at one
I don't
point.
remember, but I remember watching his story. Yeah.
Yeah, and at one point he had the record, the world record for the
Tom
furthest-
Dempsey.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, Tom Dempsey. that
Tom
sounds right.
Dempsey.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So I like this kind of stuff is cool.
It is
Kinda look
cool,
up.
and I think it's so cool to watch in real time. I mean, I know I've brought up already, like watching somebody like Wimby right now, and watch. I think did I bring this up to you guys? Did I bring the Muggsy
Yeah,
book?
yeah, we talked about
That was off air. It wasn't on air, was it?
No, it was on.
That was
there.
on there.
Oh, it was on air when we talked about it. Yeah, I just think that's so fascinating when you talk about like these guys and what the league is turning into. I mean, it's changing. The whole entire game is changing, and where the smallest guy is soon to be 6'6".
In
it's
the
crazy.
original,
Yeah.
in the early days of the Olympics, they thought that the best athlete was the most well-rounded.
Yeah, they thought everybody was like the wrestler look.
Yeah,
yeah.
so
They
they're
thought
like
the
5'9".
mesomorph like looking guy was the best athlete. And generally yes, but then when you get to like what you talk about,
specifics.
Yeah, when you get to the highest level, you find out there's a body type for that. There's a body type for every sport, every feat.
Yeah,
And
in jiu-jitsu, whenever there was a guy that you're grappling with who had bigger kind of wrists that looked kind of bigger, you knew he typically would have a good grip on your hand. And you would see this sometimes with, in fact, if you look at some of the Gracies that had kind of these bigger wrists, they grab your gi.
Yeah.
They just had strong, grips on you or whatever.
I was always afraid of the guy with a big butt when I was playing football.
That's basketball too.
Power.
You see a guy like that.
He's a horse.
It's all
Yeah.
hips. You know he can jump or he's fast. You know what I'm saying? If
He's gonna
all
run
hip,
you over.
Or the guy with the big back, but not lats, although that's also good. But I'm talking about the yoke.
Yeah.
You see the dude with the back, the mid upper back area? You're gonna get taken off your feet. Anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Hey, sorry to interrupt. Look, I have a free guide that teaches you how to lose fat in 3 steps, just 3 steps that will burn the most amount of body fat and help keep it off. This guide is totally free. We're giving it to everybody right now. If you want it, click on the link at the top of the description below. All right, back to the show. All right, so I got to ask you guys something. So my wife makes jokes about this. It's a thing, right? Like gray sweats for dudes. Is that like a thing for girls?
Yes.
I think that's been
It's the CR package, bro.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? It's to see. It's why gray sweat?
At
Why
what
other
point
sweats don't do that?
at what point did you realize that? Because I remember I wearing sweats and
I
then
didn't
like
until
girls would
Katrina.
like snicker and I was just like,
Really?
Yeah, this is like junior high or something. And I'm like, I stopped wearing sweats. It made me all self-conscious.
Really?
Dude,
I
don't like wearing sweats.
actually was very much so naive and unaware of it until Katrina made a point to talk about it when she used to take my boot camp classes. And she, I see you brought the gray sweats out for re-sign week, right? And I'm like, what? Like totally over my head. Didn't even get it. And I'm like,
Yeah,
what are you talking
weaponize
about?
it.
But I loved gray sweat. I've always got
I
gray.
have a
I always
pair.
pick gray too because it's like
it's a
neutral
matches,
color.
It matches everything.
So we're supposed to do. Today we're supposed to shoot a Vuori shoe. So Vuori is one of our sponsors. Athleisure wear, great stuff.
Yeah.
And I told Jessica last night on my way home. I said, hey, I need 2 pairs of sweats. I need 3 shirts because we're supposed to change into different clothes. And she packs my gray Vuori ones, which I only ever wear at home. And I'm like, so I look at her, I'm like, you always get me to. You always tell me to wear those. Like, what's going on? And she tells me that she likes the gray sweats.
It's a meat market over there.
Yeah, dude, what's going on, babe? But I don't even know which ones. The Sunday joggers.
That's what you're wearing right now.
Those are the
It's the most popular
That's their
they
top
have,
seller.
right? Yeah.
Is it their top seller?
Yeah, I think it's the top.
It's
seller.
been so when we first got with them, I went Sunday jogger kick like crazy. I have every color they have. So that I think by now they've made probably 9 or 10 colors. I have all of them. Some of them I have two pairs of because that was my favorite. But I've fallen in love with the meta joggers now.
Yeah.
So the meta
Which ones are
joggers,
those?
the ones you see me wear most time now, they're the ones that kind of like they have more of a shimmery look. They're still cuffed at the bottom like joggers.
Yeah.
But I like them because I like these. I won't dress up. Those are comfortable. I wear all the time.
I see. Yes, you're right.
But the meta joggers, I can wear with like a sport coat, and then it almost looks like I have almost like slacks.
Yeah,
but
they're
then
kind of slacks. I mean, these are the
Is that the meta jogger or pant?
No,
Meta
he's talking about
jogger.
the
They have jogger. I have the pants.
The joggers on now. These
No.
are the meta joggers.
No, Judson has the pants.
no, you don't have meta joggers on right now.
Yes, I do.
They're the shimmery. Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
Does it have? You don't have a zipper on your side, do you?
No zipper.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe
you're
those
wrong.
are. I can hear them. They don't look like it from here. It's hard to see underneath it. But
No, so I like the ones Justin has for dressing up because they look like slacks.
the chinos.
Yeah,
No,
these
the
are
meta pants.
meta, but
Meta
I have
pants.
chinos too. The chinos are more like straight cut, and so these form fit a little more.
Yeah, we all. It's funny because we don't. I don't wear any of the ones he wears.
Yeah,
I
know. We totally have different styles with that completely, and I ended up like I don't wear any sweats. I work out in these more than I work out in shorts, which is funny, and people give me grief
And
about
if they,
it. but it's-
they're
the
this
best.
is by the way a testament to the quality of their products. Justin squats in those.
Yeah.
I do.
Blow the back.
I really,
Isn't it crazy?
I really
you guys think
test
about
them.
that. It's a category in fashion that didn't exist when we were kids.
Isn't that crazy?
Didn't even exist.
No.
And now
You know
it's
what
probably
sweats
the
were
most.
back?
it
Sweats
is-
back in the day
Yeah.
meant you were unemployed, lazy, or you're working out. It was
Yeah.
one of those 3 things.
or broke.
Yeah, I still have that
Yeah.
like association. I don't know. It's
to wear sweats.
yeah, just in my own brain. Yeah,
So
when I put them on, I'm like chill mode. You know.
No,
I
love
do,
them.
I do. But that's what I love about the Vuori is that it's like you kind of feel. I feel like both. I feel like I'm being relaxed, borderline lazy.
Yeah.
But then I feel like I can be dressed up. You can be in it. So they do a good job.
Doug, can
of
you
the
look
middle.
up women? Why do women like men in gray sweats? And I want to see what the internet says because I know
I
it's
think
a
it just
thing.
defines the package. It just
Yeah.
kind of highlights and
Really?
shadows
Don't
and
all
molds
pants
it.
do that?
I mean,
wouldn't they?
I
No, you can't really
I didn't know
see-
either, Sal. So it was like,
Explain to me, Justin. What do you see when you
Listen, you got to really inspect
No,
it.
stop.
It's the lighting.
I mean, I never had anyone say anything to me until Katrina. When Katrina said that to me, like I had no idea.
You know,
I think girls knew about this for a long time and didn't tell anybody.
She was jabbing at me like I was
Here's
doing
the
it
deal.
intentionally.
Women act like, man, you guys talk all dirty. I think when women get together, they're just as bad. That's what I think.
Confirm, because like, dude, one time, Courtney had all her friends over. It was like a house full of like 10 girls, all nurses and whatnot. And I'm just in the other room and I hear everything and they're just going off about male body parts and the whole nine. And I'm just like, okay,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh
Like,
my God. You know what they say it is?
What?
It's equivalent to the wink at like digital being thirsty. So us wearing gray sweats is putting like, I'm thirsty. It's like so that's even worse, dude.
I feel
like
objectified.
we're portraying that?
Yes, like you're portraying it.
That's
not
not
what I do
fair.
when I put
That's
them on.
exactly what it says. That's what it means.
Now I know how they feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, woman, you're asking.
now it
for
makes
Because
sense.
I'm
like-
showing my cleavage.
Yeah, that makes sense why Katrina would say that to me then.
She thought you were doing it on purpose.
Yeah, like I'm getting all my ladies to re-sign, you know what I'm saying? Like I have no idea. I wear gray sweats all the time.
All right, I'm going to change topics here. A study came out on probiotics. Let me pull this up here. And cognitive function. Okay? Cognitive function. Another one. Recent study found that after 12 weeks of consuming a drink containing the probiotic bifidobacterium, which is one of the more common bacteria that you'll get in a probiotic, that older adults demonstrated significant improvements in cognitive performance. Specifically, ready for this? They showed nearly twice the improvement
Twice.
in complex attention and cognitive flexibility, and 3 times the function, or 3 times the improvement in executive function compared to a placebo group. These gains were also accompanied by reduced pro-inflammatory biomarkers. And of course, they tested if the bifidobacterium in their gut went up, and it sure enough.
So this is a brain inflammation thing? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Even in healthy individuals, systemic inflammation can lead to transient cognitive impairment. So anyway, the point of that article was probiotics, especially bifidobacterium, good for brain health. But this study shows like measurable differences in older adults. This is an easy supplement to take. It's an easy supplement to take to reduce your risk of, other data will show, depression, anxiety, improve the way your skin looks. There's studies that show it might help with athletic performance. And now we're looking at cognitive function, your brain, from taking a probiotic.
I gotta get
crazy.
so much better about taking my seed, dude. I'm so inconsistent with it. And
Put it next to your bed. Just take it right before bed.
I know. I mean,
That's the most consistent supplement I have,
is it?
period.
I know
Because of all my gut issues. That's why. And I take it every night, no matter what.
I know it's just an excuse I'm
traveling
making. It's
a
just
lot.
one of those things that I never trained myself to do. It's also one of those things that's hard for me to like feel it right away. I think that's what happens. I think it's like, it's easy for things like, for example, what I take a lot at night is I'll take the supplement that from Legion. I'll take that, and that
Because that puts you to sleep.
because it puts me to sleep and I feel it. And so it's an easy like, oh, I want it
No, a
tonight.
probiotic is like a multivitamin.
Yeah, it's like, and it's
take it every
compounding.
day.
The more you
Yeah.
take it, the more consistent you are, the more the effects kick in. And so I just kind of train myself because I've never been disciplined to be really, really good. And I wonder what would happen if I were. Are you good about you taking yours consistent?
No, like honestly, when
You should be. You have.
I
gut
should be.
issues
I
all the
got gut
time.
issues. I know it's like top of mind. Actually, I'm getting a little bit better with it. But every time I travel, I have this whole pack of things for and enzymes and all these different things to make sure that my digestion isn't like horrendous because you never know it. If you have to go out a bunch, like it will react.
You already have a suitcase for all your supplements. Why don't you just bring us ours and then you can feed it to us when you do yours?
I give you guys enough stuff. You want
My
me to- I'll
wife
give you that.
actually does that now. She'll just put pills in front
I'll
of me.
do it real good if you do that. If you feed it to me every day, I'll eat
Listen,
it.
hey, what a great relationship we have. You guys trust me so much.
Yeah.
You have never decided. People need to know.
You know why? Because
You know how many times I've given them supplements?
I'm worth nothing to you dead. That's why I trust that.
No, we got life insurance.
Yeah, I'm a couple million payout. That's it, though.
You're worth more than-
way
We
more
talk and
alive.
Adam makes money from it.
Yeah, I'm worth way more alive, bro.
No, you guys.
Oh,
Are funny.
thanks.
I give these guys supplements, and they'll ask, like, "What's this do?" That's all they say. Oh, this does. Okay, cool. They'll
I
take
normally
it.
ask after I take it.
After you
What did I just take?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a roofie.
Yeah.
Good night.
But I mean, you're already so consistent. You have your little suitcase. You just now, maybe get me and Justin to take ours
I
out
don't
of
know.
that.
Yeah, I literally like Courtney will feed it to me.
No,
before
seed is the
food.
one thing that I take. Like I've been taking it for years, nonstop. I'm most consistent with it. Justin, speaking of gut stuff,
Yeah.
Did you end up doing the parasite protocol that I sent you?
I haven't. No, you just sent, and Jessica too. Yeah, you guys sent me that, and I just looked it up, and I'm convinced that I need to do that. So so was it pinworms? Is what we yeah. So I was like, it's like disgusting, and I had to look it up, and I don't know. Not that I don't trust you, but yeah,
one of the side effects of pinworms is
grinding, right?
TMJ and grinding. Your
I know. That's why I was like, yeah, that resonates, dude.
And pinworms are common.
Yeah,
they're very common in kids. And they're especially
makes me feel dirty.
If you have pets,
I feel like some kind of weird.
We need to normalize parasites. You know how many people have
the dirty kid? Yeah,
a significant percentage of people.
1 in 3
have parasites.
I thought I read 1 in 3.
Probably more.
I thought 1 in 3.
Probably more. Yeah. See, pinworms. Thanks, Doug, for looking them up and making us all feel gross. Oh. I appreciate that.
Well, that's why. Yeah,
little kids.
Oh God, is that living in me right now? I don't know.
Like what normally just naturally kills it off? Like, is anything naturally go there?
No, you just live with it.
For how long?
Ever.
I mean, yeah, but can't you fast for a prolonged amount of time and then
they'll come back? They survive. They hunker down. You would die with the parasite if you fasted long enough.
Oh hell no! Well, it kind of makes sense because I've been living with this issue for I can't even tell you when the beginning of it. Like I noticed it. It's been forever.
Yeah.
So who knows? Like how long I've had it.
But yeah, animals, babies. If you're around little kids, if you're around,
animals,
and if one of you in your house has it,
check.
You all probably have it. Now here's the good news: pinworm treatment. You go on Amazon. Anybody could buy it. It's 1 dose.
Okay.
You're good. That's it. You just take one dose. So go on Amazon, buy one they sell in a double pack. Buy, however many you need. There it is right there. Pinworm treatment or whatever.
Yeah.
Take it. That's it.
I may as well take it just
I know, just to knock
what are
it
the other
off.
side of it? So grinding.
Doug, look up the side effects of pinworm because you're going to laugh right now.
Oh, no. Let's see. Teeth grinding is one of them,
Teeth grinding is a pretty significant.
I've crushed like all of my teeth, like just from the grinding and then the acid reflux and the combination of both
in the first place.
is a fucking disaster.
Anal itching?
No, come on, man. That doesn't happen. That's bullshit, dude.
Restlessness and difficulty sleeping.
Okay, yeah.
Vaginal irritation.
Sometimes.
Abdominal pain and nausea and then visible worms. Yeah. In some cases, urinary tract infection, bacterial skin infection, appendicitis. But you can also look up pinworms and teeth grinding. And
yeah.
We're just very well versed on this because we did a whole parasite thing in my house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just know. I mean, somebody had mentioned teeth grinding.
For 2 pills over the counter.
No, it's not a pill. It's like a little liquid. It tastes like bananas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, we did it a while ago.
I'll have Katrina order some.
Yeah.
Well, I also learned something new last night, which you probably know about this, and I'm curious if you do know about this or not. But the funniest way that I learned about this was I was talking with Everett, and for some reason he was just thinking, he's like, "What color is crab blood?" And we both were just like
blue, right?
Exactly. That I was like, I think it's blue, and I'm like, why do I think it's blue? Why do I know that it's blue? And then he's like, no, it's got to be red, Dad. And we're going back and forth on different animals and what color their blood is. And so I was like, I'm gonna look this up. I look it up, and the first thing that pops up is horseshoe crab blood, and it's bright blue.
Yeah,
and there's also it's worth like
a lot of money,
$60,000 for a pound.
What do they use it for?
And they use it. So what they use it for actually is vaccine safety testing.
Oh,
because they've been around for, before the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And so they use the blood to actually test these toxic bacteria, how it reacts.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's funny too. And I was reading this article about it, and this article came out 2020, like right before COVID really like took off. And like, yeah, so all these, companies worldwide are going to be using this, but Pfizer and there was opted out, of using that as a testing protocol. I'm like, wow, dude, like this is something like I never knew this was part of their testing procedure, but it makes a lot of sense.
Didn't they use the crab blood for some other stuff too, Doug? Look up crab blood benefits just to see.
Interesting.
It's used to make a substance called limulus amoebocyte lysate, which is used to test a variety of drugs, medical. But I thought that it was used for something else.
Test for endotoxins,
for sterility.
For pathogens. What are concerns?
Wow.
Like $15,000 a quart, dude. I mean, I was like, man, I gotta drum up some horseshoe crab.
Yeah, but you know what though?
dude.
If it's that much, I wonder how many hermit crabs you would need.
Just to get that much.
pound.
Well, these are big though. They're off the coast of Asia, and I mean,
These are horseshoe crabs.
yeah, horseshoe crabs are
They're
like
not
this
hermit
big.
crabs.
What? They're that big?
Yeah. They look. It looks like those
Show me a
ancient
picture.
fossils. You know, where they're like
Oh, wow.
they're creepy looking.
Oh, but a declining bird species relies on the crabs to eat. You know, I'm all for animals, but if there's a comparison, you know, if we have to do the whole like animals versus humans, like I feel bad
if
for
it
the birds.
benefits
But
humans.
Yeah.
Then
Well,
sorry.
you know, one of the best ways I've ever seen how stupid that is. Have you ever seen how many species fall off of the earth at like
Just
a
on their
day?
own?
On their own a day, or like every time we do anything like that, it's a ridiculous amount. It's like hundreds, like are constantly, and then we're finding
how
so
do they
many.
know that though? Are they making shit up, or are they
don't
like,
know.
oh look, we can't see this anymore? I feel like it's a number that just kinda-
yeah. Once you start looking into it, you're like, this isn't what I was told.
There's a little bit of there's a little bit of guessing, dude.
Yeah,
What's going on?
yeah. What's happening?
Anyway, I got a study on
Propaganda.
I got a study on exercise and dementia that I love because it confirms a lot of what we talk about. So, okay. So the study was on the association or the effect of exercise and the risk of dementia. Okay. Now here's what I like about the study. 35 minutes, okay, of moderate to vigorous physical activity per week. 35 minutes a week.
Yeah.
So you're in all 7 days, an entire week, 35 minutes of that week
So it's 5 minutes a day.
led to 41% lower risk of developing dementia.
Wow.
So if you want to cut your risk of dementia by 41%,
Wow,
you just do 5 minutes of exercise
That's
a day. 5 minutes a day.
that's nothing.
That is nothing.
That's crazy.
That's how incredibly protective exercise is. It also highlights just how poor our health is.
I know, right? We can't get
We're
that.
so unhealthy.
I think
It's
that's
like,
more
like,
the
just
case.
move a little bit.
I feel like that's more than
That's sad is what it
really
is.
that point. You know, it was cool. The book I was reading, the latest chapter was talking about with children, like helping their children with. I've been sharing this with you guys, right? The whole like the 4 quadrants of the brain and keeping it all integrated is what you want. And in moments where the kids get like where they're really angry or throwing tension, like one of the best things to do with them when they get stuck in this moment of anger or frustration or whatever is physical activity. Is physical activity actually will get them to kind of balance out and regulate themselves. So like if they're just so frustrated, they're so stuck on something, to get them to go out, whether that's tricking them through play or chasing them through the house, like getting them to
Get them back in their
exhaust
body.
exhaust their energy into something like that will help them get back into normalization. And so that's a cool strategy to try and implement the next time your kid's having like a challenge with that. It's like, you know what? I'm not going to try and talk to you about this like this. Let's go do something. Let's go run with dad. Let's
Wow.
go do
So effective with boys. I mean, I'm
Yes,
sure girls
dude.
too, but like I mean, for me, it was always, and that's why we got that punching bag too, when there's this moments of frustration, just to exhaust and get it out.
Move.
And then come back calm. And then we rationally talk about
So
it.
there's neuroscience to support what's happening there. Like I'll tear it up. I'll probably be better at it as I read more through the chapters. But that was like what I just recently read was just like it's what's happening in their brain. When they're in that moment of anger and frustration, they're deep in one quadrant. I think it's like they're at the bottom quadrant, the primal one.
Just
Like,
stuck in that.
They're stuck
Reactive.
in that. Yeah, reactive, primal, and you want to get the upstairs working part of the brain so to get them back in the neutral position. One of the ways, instead of you trying to logically get them there, is for you to just exhaust them physically to get that out, and then that will organically bring them up that way. So the next time, which obviously you've hacked into that already with your son, you've realized that like, you know what, I'm not going to
Well,
try
he
and
gets stuck in those
I'm not-
loops real deep.
Right, and you can't logically, and you probably can't logically speak to
No,
him when he's
you
like
can't.
that. He's not hearing it right now. He's
not letting it in.
there that it's like, you know what? Let's not even talk about this. Let's go play ball, or let's go punch the bag for a little bit,
100%.
and then that calms him
Run
down.
as fast as you can.
Yes,
or
that they use the example of run.
Yeah.
Let's race. Let's run as fast as you can, and until you can't
Hey,
anymore.
you're upset right now, buddy. Why don't you run as fast as you can?
Yeah, let's go. You know, and then they do that. That exhausts them. Then that brings them down. Then you can logically communicate to them how they were feeling, why they felt that way, and then
that's
help
great.
them logically process to get them back.
That's got to work for adults too.
Of course.
I know, right?
Let's go to work for.
It's all- I mean,
although how annoyed would you be if you're really just sitting there really mad? Hey, Adam, you look really mad right now. You want to go play volleyball?
Yeah. Next time you and your wife are
Screw
fighting,
you.
you got to chase me first, and then I'll answer you.
Come get me. No, I'll just start wrestling my wife while she's mad.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing? Just trying to help you get
He's
up
down the
quadrant,
street.
Body
We got into a
slammer.
fight.
I'm doing this for your own good.
He put his joggers on. He'll be back.
Pit her on the bed. Come on, get out. You gotta get out.
No, it's true. I mean,
She would murder me.
It's this
on, let's
obviously
wrestle
all this
first and
is
I'll get back to you.
all of this is neuroscience, so it doesn't just apply to children.
You know
It's
what's active
all of
too?
our brains.
You know what's active too, honey? Sex. I know you're really mad right now. Why don't we move? That'll go over.
No,
real-
it's so true,
real
and
great.
the better, obviously, that we can train the kids on their ability to
Yeah, that's
do
awesome.
that. Then, as they get into adulthood, the more likely they will
that.
regulate themselves
Love
like that.
What did you guys? I want to ask you guys. What did you guys think about what I said? So today I was talking to the forum about our new program launch, Transform. So
Yeah.
for people who don't know, MAPS Transform. It's a 90-day transformational program. Take you from before and after. That's the whole. Basically the point of the program is 3 months before and after. And what I talked to our forum about was I said I want you guys, if you're interested, to take a before and take an after picture. But here's the difference. I want to know this difference in strength. I want to know the difference in energy. I want to know your difference in mood,
Yeah.
sleep,
Skin,
difference in outlook.
hair.
Like, I don't want just a picture of how you look. I want to hear about how it impacted your life from a
Every
non-aesthetic.
characteristic.
Yes, dude, because
Yeah.
when I train clients, like, and I got people need to understand this, visually changing your body, that's nice. But it is one small piece of the big picture.
Yeah.
And if you just focus on the appearance, you'll miss the beauty of what's going on, and you'll actually develop a relationship with fitness that is not sustainable. When you start to really realize, like, my energy, my mood, oh my God, I'm eating more. Wow, look, I'm stronger, I'm more mobile.
Yeah, and I remember Adam talking about this when you did the series, and me going through this now is like just being a little more, intense and active and consistent. It's like I'm just so much more balanced, and that balance, it just brings that calm demeanor, and I'm bringing that into my family, and I'm not letting like a lot of the friction affect, that ability where it would just take me to this high stress point, and then, I would have a reaction to that. And so there's like not that reaction. And it's just like, but it's so much about like moving and being active and having that, working out provides me with that.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's great that, because at the end of the day, you can't deny, and our own community has asked for it. I know that we've made the choice that we're not going to use before and afters as a marketing strategy. But there is this, and I've got it from plenty of people that are huge fans of the show, and they love it, but they wish they could see more of the stories of the people and lives that we've changed. And
That's what I want, a story.
And so, I think that we've communicated this since day one, that like whenever we had clients, our goal was always to move them away from just focusing on the aesthetic part, because we knew that if this is going to be a long-term thing for them, that they would have to learn to attach their success to all the other things that are being successful in their life, because the relationship with their partner, their energy, their sleep, their sex drive, their mood, all the other things and other intangible things that's happening to you when you go on a health and fitness journey like that. And to me, that should be what's highlighted in the transformation, is like, I've noticed this, I've noticed this, I've noticed this. It's like, awesome. That's cool. We can see that you went from 20% to 10% body fat physically and aesthetically. That's also a cool feat.
But what else changed?
But yeah, what else has changed? And you need to know that, because if you don't, to your point, you'll end up reverting back, and you'll be in this constant chasing.
You place all the importance on the mirror, which it's important, but it's not all important. There are many, many things that you should pay attention to. Yep. What's cool about this program too is it is our first like 90-day before and after that incorporates diet with the fitness, and it works the diet in with the strategy of the program with reverse diet, mini cut, mini bulk, cut, and the programming changes along with the diet to take you from before and after. So I am excited to see what people send in after completing this program. And
it's going to be a fun one.
It'll be a lot of fun. Element is one of the most popular electrolyte powders for a reason. Gives you the right amount of sodium, no artificial sweeteners, no sugar. It tastes good. And again, it gives you the amount of sodium you need if you want the best pumps, the best workouts, you want to feel the best. Go check them out. Go to drinklmnt.com/ Mind Pump. On that link, you'll get a free sample pack with any drink mix purchase. All right, back to the show. This segment of the podcast is brought to you by Mind Pump Fitness Coaching. This is the #1 course that teaches trainers and coaches how to build sustainable 6-figure plus businesses and careers in fitness. Look, it's roundtable based, so you can hear Adam, Justin, and myself teaching you how to build a better business, get more leads, close more deals, close bigger deals, and be more effective trainers. By the way, our course is nationally recognized. In fact, it gives you 1.9 CEUs with or for your NASM certification. Find out more at mindpumpfitnesscoaching.com.
First question is from Becca Miller. I've been yo-yo dieting for years. I'm doing MAP Starter and have maybe 50 pounds to lose. Should I do this in a bulk or a cut?
Great question. So MAP Starter, people don't know, this is a program for like total beginners, right? You don't have any experience strength training. You want to get the benefits of resistance training. That's why it's called Starter. So the question is, I got a lot of weight to lose. Do I cut my calories right out the gates? Now, what you want to do, a successful strategy for long-term fat loss, especially when it's more than like 10 pounds, right? You want 50 pounds to lose. That's substantial, and you want to keep it off. You have to set yourself up well. That's how you start this journey. You start this journey so that you can set yourself up for something that is sustainable later on. What you don't want to do is skip that part, get right to the cut, set yourself up for long-term failure. And the data on this is very clear. The majority of people fail, gain the weight back that they lost. Even they don't hit their ultimate goal. They lose some weight, but they gain it back and then some because they don't set themselves up well. Now, what does that mean to set yourself up well? Let's get your body more metabolically healthy. Let's build some lean tissue. Let's get you stronger and set you up first. So what does that look like? That looks like you're not trying to cut your calories. You're actually feeding yourself along with the strength training, and you're focusing on building strength first. If we could build strength and build some muscle initially, then the cut later is easier, faster, and more sustainable. And by the way, what tends to happen in that initial stage of trying to build is you end up still losing some body fat, but it sets you up later for this wonderful process of fat loss that doesn't feel so damn forced.
This is 100% bulk. This is what you have to do when you first start. This took me a while in my career to figure out this is where I needed to start with everybody. Whether they needed to lose 10 pounds or lose 100 plus pounds, everybody starts here. And if you watched at all the journey that I went through when I did my getting back in shape on YouTube, my first month was dedicated towards rebuilding my metabolism. Even though I didn't need to lose a bunch of weight, it's still, that's the focus, to set yourself up for success. Mm-hmm. And what's cool, to Sal's point, what ends up happening a lot of times is in that pursuit of quote unquote bulking, to build muscle, to speed your metabolism up, not only do you find yourself eating more calories than what you did before, but then what ends up happening a lot of times too is they also lose a little bit of body fat percentage. And that's exactly what happened to me at the end of that month. At the end of that month, we had 20 pounds of muscle we gained. My metabolism was flying, and I also dropped a few percent body fat. So it's like both can happen. It's not happening simultaneously, but throughout the cycle of in pursuit of bulking and adding calories, this can happen. And it's hard to get somebody who needs to lose 50 or more pounds. It's
not what they want to hear.
Yeah, to see that. They don't believe it, but I can't tell you how many times I've done it with clients time and time again.
Now, for you, Becca, if that's your name, it's your handle. After Starter, do the new program we have, MAPS Transform. It's actually set up this way.
Be perfect for you.
You would start the first 30 days. The first 30 days of MAPS Transform is a reverse diet with a process of building, and it's perfect for somebody who just completed MAPS Starter because you've got some experience.
Next question is from Action K. Jackson. What is the best way to warm up for a full body workout? I'm older and need a few sets to warm up before I begin a muscle group. How can I warm up and not double my time in the gym?
So this is, we have to talk about the program right now. This is MAPS Prime. There's no better answer than the specific answer that what you should do, because everybody has got different stuff, right? So even if you looked at all four of us in this room right now, and let's say all four of us were following MAPS Anabolic and we're getting ready to work out.
Same exercise and everything.
Same exercises, right? So following the same exact program. All four of us would prime our bodies differently getting into that workout. So it has less to do with the full body workout you're doing, it has more to do with your body and what your body needs to be put in optimally. And that's what MAPS Prime is all about. You take a test, you find out, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, what zones you fail. Then it goes over and tells you what movements to prime the body to get it in that optimal position. That becomes your warm-up. That now becomes your, probably forever, because you're not, most likely you're working to get normal behaviors that you're doing in your daily activities. And so you're going to be priming like that before every workout going forward. And that is your answer. There is no this exercise or that exercise.
So to give more of an example, you may be somebody with poor ankle mobility, and let's say poor rotational ability. Your priming session is going to focus on those two things. But if you're somebody with, let's say, poor shoulder mobility, maybe you have forward head, your warm-up is going to look different for you. Now, generally speaking, if you don't know any of this stuff, well, you do a set or two of the exercise you're about to perform. Now, the problem with that, which is, by the way, if you're advanced, that's okay, because advanced people know how to position themselves as they warm up to get in the right position. But somebody who's not really advanced in experience, when they go to warm up with the squat and they go do squats to warm up with the squat, what they're doing is bad movement patterns to warm up for the squat.
Yeah.
Because they don't know.
You're reinforcing bad.
They don't know how to position themselves in the right way. And so that's why an individualized warm up or priming session is just.
It needs to unlock,
down,
your movement potential, and you're gonna find that out by going through those tests. That's why we put it together that way, so it simplifies it, because it is like it's confusing for a lot of people to pick. If there's some limitation or restriction, some joint that they're having a hard time with in that particular exercise. If we can narrow it down to just like 1 to 3 movements that are like so specific to you and your needs and your shoulder needs or your hip need or your ankle, then it's like, it's very clear and it's a repetitive thing. It's just ritual at that point. You do that, you're going to benefit so much the entire workout from it.
What was Justin's webinar called?
MAPS Prime
webinar.com.
Free. There you go. Check that out.
MAPS Prime. So if you don't just go straight to the program and get it and buy it, and you want to see what is in it, then go to that webinar. You can watch it for free.
You can do the tests with
but
the video.
that is how you prime for a workout that's specific, and you will see the greatest return by doing it that way.
3 days left for the brand new program launch, MAPS Transform. This is a 90-day transformational program. Go from before to after. Get $70 off and get 2 free ebooks, Adam's 90-day body recomp journal, and MAPS Transformation Diet Guide. If you're interested in transforming your body in 90 days, go to mapstransform.com, use the code TRANSFORM70. That'll give you $70 off and the 2 ebooks. All right, here comes the show.
Next question is from Elissa Walker, 143. Have you guys ever trained someone with scoliosis? Are there any exercises to avoid? And if so, can you guys recommend replacements to get similar benefits?
I have a lot of experience with scoliosis, and I've trained doctors that work with patients with scoliosis. And the old belief system around scoliosis and strength training was to stick to purely unilateral training. That was the old thought, right? It was, okay, so the spine.
Depending on the severity of it.
Yeah, the spine isn't balanced. So what we're going to do is we're going to do everything one arm and one leg at a time, okay? Now, I disagree with that. I do think that's important. I think 50% of your workouts should be unilateral, but I also think 50% of your workout should be bilateral, because the real world you're going to move bilaterally in the real world. And yes, you're going to compensate because of your spine position, but that's okay. You need to develop strength in those positions because that's how you move in the real world.
Yep.
So generally speaking, your routine, now what exercise to avoid? Well, ones that really bother you, of course, stay away from. But generally speaking, at least half of your workouts should be focused on unilateral work. One arm dumbbell chest press or shoulder press, or one arm rows, or one arm or one-legged type squat, type movements, or one-legged deadlift, that kind of stuff. But then 50% should be bilateral with barbells. So don't avoid barbells altogether, because again, in the real world, lifting things often requires both arms and both legs.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you're lifting boxes, you're lifting dog food, groceries, typically you're going to use that bilateral position. So I totally agree. it's, and even then, if you're not like optimally set up with your posture, like, but that's, obviously something you're born with. You're going to have to strengthen what your limitations, around that. And so I totally agree. I think that's been always pushed is like just unilateral only, but it's not realistic.
Next question is from MGX 30423. I have terrible arthritis in my shoulders. It prevents me from doing back squats. I can't hold the barbell on my back. I've replaced back squats with Zercher and or front squats or squats with a safety bar. Are these effective?
That's totally fine.
Yeah, they're totally fine.
Totally fine.
Now, that being said, if you can work on, and I don't know what your history is, okay? But I've worked with many, many people with shoulder issues who couldn't squat. They couldn't hold the bar, okay? And through a process of working on shoulder mobility, scapular retraction, strengthening the back, loosening the pecs, I've never had anybody, now that I think about it, I've never had anybody I couldn't get to do
me too.
a bar squat without then solve their problem. In other words, they couldn't do squats, then they could do squats. Some people took 3 months, other people took as little as a few weeks. So you can work on shoulder mobility. In fact, that webinar we talked about earlier, the mapsprimewebinar.com,
rotation
the wall test that Justin does on there, do that and do it the way he's cueing it in that webinar. It's free, so you can watch the whole thing. And then go try squatting and see if you don't notice a difference. And I bet you that you probably are going to notice a significant improvement in the pain of holding the bar on your back.
I was going to answer that very soon. Like, yes, those are great alternatives, and that would be what we do immediately, would be those types of exercises, and you're going to be just fine doing that as far as developing a good balanced physique in your legs. But simultaneously, I would be doing shoulder mobility work, and thoracic mobility. Like that would be, we would be living in Prime Pro, and that's how I would prime you before we get going to see if I can make that improvement, to see if I can get you to a place. And that would be a huge accomplishment for us. Like how awesome would that be? And this was, I think, what probably all of us love doing with clients. Is you get a client like that who would say a statement like, hey, I can't do back squats for this reason. And you go, okay, cool. We'll do some Zerchers. We'll do them this way. But then I want to work on those shoulders. Are you open to it? Yeah, of course. Okay. Well, then we start putting in the work. And then before you know it, they can hold a bar on their back. And so I wouldn't give up on that, let's say.
Totally. All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. 30% body fat. For men, this is way too high. This is actually a bit high for women as well. So in today's episode, we're talking about how you can go from 30 to 10. What is 10% body fat? This is when you have a visible six-pack. Can you go from 30 to 10%? Yes, it's possible, but not if you guess along the way. So we're going to talk about how you can do that in today's episode.
Now, there's a huge range, right, of like body types.
Yes.
Some people can run a little bit heavier or a little bit higher body.